True. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses. Above all was the sense of hearing. I heard all things in heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad?
So tell us what happened.
It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object, none. Passion, none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. He had the eye of a vulture. Pale blue eye, with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. You fancy me mad? Madmen know nothing, but you should have seen me. With what caution, foresight, dissimulation, I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. And every night about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it. And then when I made an opening sufficient for my head, I first put in a dark lantern, all closed, so that no light shone out. Then I thrust in my head. I moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening, so far that I could see the old man as he lay upon his bed. I undid the lantern cautiously, for the hinges creaked. I undid it just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye, and thus I did for 7 long nights, every night at midnight. The eye was always closed. Not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. Every morning I went boldly into his chamber, and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name, and inquiring how he has passed the night. He would have been very profound, indeed, to suspect that every night just at 12 I looked upon him while he slept. I fairly chuckled at the idea. Now you may think that I drew back, but no. I had got my head in, and was about to open the lantern, when my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening and the old man sprang up in bed. I kept quite still and said nothing. His fears had been ever since growing upon him. Death, in approaching the old man, had stalked with his black shadow before him, and it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel the presence of my head within the room. Now I say, there came in my ears a low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury as the beating of a drum stimulates the soldier into courage. I have told you that I am nervous, and now, at the dead hour of the night, and amid the dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable wrath. And now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. The old man was dead. Yes, he was stone dead. The old man was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If still you think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. I cut off the head, and the arms, and the legs. I then took up the floor of the chamber, and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the floor so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no blood spot whatsoever. A tub had caught all. When I had made an end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for what had I now to fear?
Good evening. I'm Officer Hasseltine. This is Officer Robinson. There's been a report of a disturbance at this residence. May we come in?
Yes, ma'am.
I led them, at length, to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room.
Here you go, sir and madam.
And desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them I was singularly at ease. They sat, and, while I answered cheerily, they chatted of familiar things. But ere long I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. But still they sat and still chatted. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained definiteness until at length I found the noise was not within my ears. No doubt I now grew very pale, yet the sound increased. It was a low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I arose. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro, as if excited to fury by the observations of the officers. Oh God, what could I do? I swung the chair upon which I had sat and grated it upon the floors.
Villains! Dissemble no more! I admit the deed! Tear up the planks! Here! Here is the beating of his hideous heart!